Welcome to Veterans in Politics interview with the Clark County Clerk's position. Let me give you some of the guidelines. First of all, we're going to stick to a strict schedule because we're really tight on the schedule. Number two is this is not a debate. The panelists will ask the candidate or candidates questions, and then you'll just give an answer. We're going to keep the questions as short and as non-complicated as possible. You will have 1 minute to answer the question, and then we'll move on to the next panelist. You will be given an opportunity to introduce yourself at the beginning for 1.5 minutes. So let's go ahead and start that now. 1.5 minutes to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Lynn Goya. I'm running for county clerk. I have a background, I have degrees in English and economics, and I've run my own business for the past 20 years. As a matter of fact, one of my major clients for the past few years has been as a managing editor for Veteran Journal, which is an online publication that addresses veterans issues. So I'd love for you guys to go there and look at it and give me some feedback on that as well. But as far as the county clerk's office, it's a very important office, even though it's low profile as far as community members are concerned. The primary function of the clerk's office, although not the only thing, is to issue marriage licenses. So we issue more marriage licenses than any other county in the country. So we are the marriage capital of the country. 80 to 90% of those marriage licenses are to tourists. So it's a great boon to the local economy. As a matter of fact, the local wedding industry here is over $500 million a year. So even though it's a low profile office, it's very important that it's run efficiently, effectively, and in a friendly manner that makes people want to come back and bring their children and get recommittal vows and encourage people to come here to get married. So I'll answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll go first. You want to go first? All right.
Who do you support for sheriff?
That is a really interesting race.
Isn't it,
I'm not quite sure. There's a couple of people that I really appreciate, and I will keep that to myself.
Okay. Jay.
No question at this time.
Okay. Pamela.
So, thank you for coming today, Lynn.
Oh, no problem.
As a county clerk, in our county, are you also responsible for, our ballots and our election process as well, and assisting in that?
No, there's a whole other department, election department, that does all that. So
okay.
we have nothing to do with that other than to hope that everyone does a good job.
Okay, very good. So if I wanted to request, I guess, a marriage certificate or documentation like that, is it a pretty simple process? Is it automated? Do you utilize technology?
We're in the process of utilizing technology more. That's one of the things that Diana has been implementing over the last year or so. There's a lot of records that go back quite a number of years, so the digitization process is complex, but it's moving forward so that people can get the records more quickly. The county clerk's office is also responsible for taking the minutes of the county commission meetings, recording their votes, and tracking the contracts that the county assigns. So that's also coming through our office, and that will be, that's another effort to get it more digitized so that it's easier and quicker for you guys to get information.
Wonderful, thank you.
George, do you have a question while you're eating and your mouth is full of food? I called just because of that.
He watched for you to take a bite.
I'll pass right now.
Okay. All right. He'll pass until he swallows. Melody.
Thank you for attending this interview. I really don't have any questions right now, so I'm going to pass.
Okay. Zachary.
I guess I'll go off just for now. I'll ask another question later. Are you pro-life? But if yes or if no, also what would be your timing on it as far as months into it? So into the pregnancy, are you are you pro-choice up to what point? Instead of just a yes or a no.
The county clerk has no authority over that issue, and I think that it's a personal issue. It's not, we're not a legislative body.
Okay, thank you. Lynn?
I'd like to touch on technology that you mentioned. One of the biggest complaints that the average user has when it comes to dealing with government entities is the impersonal nature, the complexity of trying to get something done, and so on. And with this streamlining of technology for the user to either file or do something, or for the office to be able to handle and manage, how are you going to maintain a human and personal touch with the users in a world of all this technology?
You know, that's actually one of my personal pet peeves, is that it's so difficult to get to a real person. The county clerk's office, people don't, when they don't know who to get to or where to get information about, like the elections department or their assessor's records or any of those kind of things, they often call the clerk because it just sounds like the office. So we've tried to be really responsive and keep a personal face to everything. You know, the clerk's office, as well as a lot of other county offices, has had cutbacks over the past few years. So that would be, I would want to make sure that we have the staffing available so that we could maintain a personal, helpful relationship with the public, because I do think it's really important.
Thank you. Thank you. Lisa?
Hi, Lynn, thank you for coming.
Hey, Lisa.
This is kind of a hard question, but I think it needs to be answered. On April 1st, the Secretary of State office cracked down on certain notary publics, and the bonds and oaths of notary publics come through this office. And they cracked down on them on the 1st for people that go beyond notaries, so legal documents and so forth. Please tell me what your knowledge is of this new regulation and how you think that will impact the office of the county clerk.
You know, Lisa, I'm not real familiar with it, so I wouldn't want to speak at this point.
Thank you. Okay, Robert?
Since you're in charge of issuing marriage certificates, what's your position on gay marriage, and would it be a benefit to our community to have it? Would it be a detriment? What are your thoughts?
The county clerk's office follows the state law, so currently gay marriage is illegal, but there is a court case in front of the Ninth Circuit that we expect to a decision to be issued over the next, maybe even 2 to 4 weeks. Of course, that's a guess. I know that the state and the Secretary of State's office and the county clerk's office has pulled out of defending that ban on gay marriage, and every other community that has had gay marriage become legal has seen at least a 10% to higher increase in local economic activity. I think that it's good for the community. On a personal note, I am in for favor of gay marriage. I don't know if this is the right crowd to say that for, but my cousin, who's a year older than me, met his partner the same year that my husband and I met. We got married 3 years later and just celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary. And David and Bill are still together, and they were just allowed to get married last fall. So I think that it's something that is good for the local economy. I personally think it's good for, the community, but the clerk's office follows the law.
Thank you. Jameson?
Good afternoon, how are you today?
Hi, very good.
Since you were talking about marriage and gay marriage and everything like that, you said it's about a $500 million industry.
Mhm.
That's okay. And that's pretty big. And this might be more personal than not. What other industries do you think we could bring to Las Vegas that would start having those type of economic effects, creating jobs and so forth?
Again, the clerk's office has very little impact on that. I do have some ideas. As a matter of fact, I think on a volunteer level, I've been working with a local, Creative Change now puts gardens in schools, edible gardens in schools, and then we bring in chefs to teach the kids how to eat. We usually work with at-risk students that are, free or reduced lunch, so they're very much at the, where they need some help with economic activity. We're bringing in junior achievement to teach them financial literacy through gardening. And if you think about Las Vegas, we get very little of our food locally. Even on farmers markets are brought in from California primarily. There is local chefs want local food. It's better, tastes better, it's good for the economy, and if we could increase the local food market, that's something that you could do quite a bit of gardening in your backyard. The laws were changed last legislative session so that it was easier to be able to sell from your own small garden. So there's a huge market in local food. But the clerk's office has nothing to do with that.
All right, well,
I did say it would be more personal.
maybe you should sell some of that food out of the clerk's office.
I would if I could.
All right, so we've gone around the table once, we have a little bit of time, so anybody else would like to ask a question, we'll start with Travis. And then
Hi, Ms. Goya. If Diane Alba were here, could you tell us why you think, or put words in her mouth, why she endorsed you for this?
Yes, I've known Diana for a number of years, so she knows me well, obviously. She told me why she endorsed me. She thinks that it's a position that's very important. She is dedicated to the office, and she wants to make sure that the transition is smooth and seamless. She has said that, she appreciates my business background, my degree in economics, my communications background, because it is a office that sometimes gets national requests from national media, even international media. I've been a spokesperson for Clark County and Las Vegas for probably 20 years. I've been quoted as a Las Vegas expert in places like BlankBreak.com, Cooking Light, the Travel Channel. So I have the experience to be able to promote Las Vegas, and then the business background to make sure that the office runs smoothly.
Can I have a quick follow-up?
I guess so.
Is there anybody in the office that's running for the seat I'm not aware of? Is there somebody?
No.
Okay.
Thank you, Zachary.
What are the, for tourists getting married, what are the requirements for the process for them to get married, and what is the fastest process if they did come down here to get married?
They go to the county clerk's office. There's actually a special room section in the courthouse so that they don't have to go through security. You can access it from the street. So you go into the court's office, the marriage license office, and you request a marriage license. Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Yeah.
And then you take that marriage license then to a minister. Although the county, or the clerk, and some members within the clerk's office have the power to marry people. So if you didn't want to go outside the clerk's office, you could actually ask the clerk's office to marry you right there.
Any other questions? Okay, that's the candidate for Clark County Clerk. Thank you very much.